think we are on. छोड़ दो. It's okay. Just leave it. As the technical difficulties are because it's when one camera works, the other one doesn't work, and when the other one works, the first one doesn't work. नहीं तो मेरा नहीं ख्याल की आवाज भी जा रही है.
मेरा कैमरा भी निकल गया. मेरा कैमरा डिसअपियर हो गया. मेरे पास बस इंटीग्रेटेड कैमरा आ रहा है, दूसरा नहीं आ रहा. पहले आ रहा था.
फुल स्क्रीन कर लेना भाई. वो उठाओ नोटपैड. आ रही है लाइट. नहीं हो सकता भाई, कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
ऐसा कर लूंगा.
चले तब ना. तुम शुरू कर सकते हो बातचीत करना या मैं ही.
Hello, hi everyone. Can you hear us? Hi, are we audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, just give us a couple of more minutes. I think
There is some delay on the sound, Wajat.
yeah, I think it's the setup related stuff. So we're trying to get everything working together. So I think overload that the system can handle it. Two 4K cameras. How much lag is there in the sound? Like a couple of seconds?
Half a second, maybe.
Yeah. I think that sounds okay.
It's better now. Before it was 2 to almost 3 seconds, but now it's okay. You really need two cameras next to each other on the sofa. Actually, you're sitting next to each other on the sofa.
Yeah, I know. We're sitting next to each other.
We had a third camera as well here,
Maybe
which
you
was
can see
supposed to
my
look at.
hand on Mr. Cap's face.
अच्छा वो
Like,
ये तुम्हारा क्यों फुल स्क्रीन आ रहा है, क्या मजाक है.
I think it's back to full screen.
Okay. I think it's too much. Yeah,
Too much to handle.
yeah, it's too much to handle. No, we had a third camera as well where both of us would have been visible.
Yeah. But handling two was way too difficult, so adding a third one would have been even harder.
Anyways, how's everyone? And apologies for last time. I have not been feeling very well. नहीं चलेगा भाई.
It's better now.
Look, I mean, it comes and goes. So I have very little idea because nothing happens for a very long time. And then all of a sudden my heartbeat jumps up to like 130, 140 resting. So then you have to go have a bit of a checkup. I've done the EKGs, I've done the other things as well. Everything seems to be fine. My sonograph is also fine for the heart. The EKG is also fine. But people around me, they seem to be very concerned. In Vajat, ever since he's here, he's talking to me about the gluten free and the fiber stuff. And
You know, I
I was just I was I was I, I was just going to ask now that Wajat is there, he can explain you everything into detail. You can follow him for a week. You start with your vegetables in the morning, then you go for a walk, then only the carbs and what. So
I,
no,
it's a time of your life now.
I've already had one convert. So my sister-in-law has actually she's started following my lifestyle. So because I order a salad first, now I order two, one for her, one for me, and now Baijan is next. So let's see how long it takes before Baijan also gets on board.
My wife follows me now too. Yeah, it's she starts to understand. You feel it's not for the kilos, it's not for the weight, Jay. It's for your you
look,
feel better.
no, I think, I mean, overall, having a bit of exercise, having a bit of, like moving around that's good. But when it comes down to stuff like, no, you need to eat your salad 15 minutes before the food, and then now it needs to be exactly 15 minutes to 20 minutes that you start eating those. That's where my brain gives up. It's like, I cannot do that.
No, but the 15 minutes, it's not important. Actually, you just need to eat like that amount of greens every day, and then just healthy organic meat and full thin bread, or full rice or something, and then you're fine. Then you can eat an ice cream even.
Ice cream, am I allowed to eat ice cream?
Even I had an ice cream. So it's called Faluda. It's a very special type of ice cream, very famous in Pakistan. So, but in Singapore, you can also have few places where you can actually get the Pakistani food. There's actually a very famous restaurant which has very good Pakistani food in Singapore, and it's in Suntec City. I mean, that's besides the point. But the minute I went there, the first thing that I said was, I want the faluda. I want good Pakistani food. When I was back in Singapore, that was my favorite place. So that was the first thing that I wanted to do as soon as I landed in Singapore.
Hey guys, there is like a lot of noise on the line, but can we just test where it's coming from?
Can we
Because
maybe everybody else, unless you're speaking, if you can put yourself on mute, that would be good. I think it's gone now. I don't hear it anymore. Do you guys hear anything? Okay, now Bart has also gone on mute. So
Okay, so maybe
it's
was
it's
the noise coming from your side?
it's do you have a microphone too, Vajat?
No, we're
Maybe try
using the
that
same
one.
microphone.
Yeah, I
Baijan and
think
I,
I
both
think
of us
the
are
the
using the same
noise
microphone.
the noise. If you just mute yourself just to see what it is, because it's quite hard.
Hmm? तो आपके
no, it's massively easier part when it's just me because then you just put up a camera in front, turn on the light, put a mic in front of you, and then you're done. But now because it's two of us, so we couldn't get ourselves within one camera, so now it needed to be two cameras, and now both of us are on the same internet connection, which is not able to handle the amount of feed which is going.
Yeah, I think these are two very high quality 4K cameras, and I think there's just
Anyways, guys, let's start. If you can hear me well, or do you guys not hear me? Do you guys hear me well? Because there's only one microphone in front of me, and that's about like an arm's length away from me, so I don't know whether or not it's very loud, very clear, and you can it's very audible. Otherwise, we move the microphone closer to us. So do let us know if you cannot hear us.
Yeah, they can hear us. Just
Okay.
received a few messages.
Okay. I well this time around
So please,
before.
please, can you go clearer through the microphone? So it is really hard to understand you. Not so loud. Thank you.
Okay, what we're gonna do is whoever is speaking is gonna hold the microphone. Does that work?
Perfect. Thank you.
Is better now? Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Look, the idea for me, and apologies for Saturday because I put the call up. I put the link up on YouTube as well. And then on the last minute, I mean, in the evening, we had some technical difficulties, exactly the same way as we were having the technique. We started setting this entire thing up like 2 hours ago, and still things don't work. So apologies for the Saturday because you guys had to wait, and in the end, I mean, nothing happened. The call didn't happen. But then me and Vajad, we got to discussing it like, okay, we always hop on a call and we just start talking about generally, which is normally a good idea because 10, 15 minutes into the call, there normally emerges a topic, and then we start discussing different things. But most of the time, what ends up happening is I feel that I'm just repeating exactly the same stuff over and over and over again for a very, I mean, it's been 5 months that we're having these calls, and we're repeating the stuff again and again. So Vajad had an idea that look, let's set up a topic, and the topic is not for me to set up. It is everybody in the in the members area or people who are joining on the YouTube suggest to us what topic you would like to discuss, and then we can have that discussion. And I would love for it to be an interactive discussion. So it's not supposed to be it's like, okay, well, I come here and somehow, I mean, I download upon you guys some wisdom. I don't have it. I just have my experiences, my opinions, and I'm very happy to share them. I mean, for the last 8, 9 months, 10 months, I'm sharing whatever small stuff that I have learned over the last 10, 12 years. But the overall idea is for us, all of us, to be because we all have a love for trading, we have a passion for it, even despite going through many different stages of happiness and despair and then rejection, we always come back to it one way or the other. So this is not leaving us until our last day on the planet. So, and funnily enough, I mean, me and Vajad, we have each other because we can discuss among ourselves whatever ideas we have, whatever experiences we have. But a lot of the time before Vajad got into the trading world as well, I used to feel very lonely because there was nobody that I could speak to. And this is another thing which I had in my mind when I started this community and then through YouTube as well. Uh, and so finding the like-minded people so we can all discuss various stuff, share our experiences, and and learn from each other's mistake because learning probably from each other's successes is more difficult than learning from each other's mistakes. One, because we have more mistakes to share, and then it's probably better to not having to repeat those mistakes that other people have already made. So Vajad came up with like, okay, let's have a topic. So for today, I think in my head, because we've been doing this for the last 5, 6 months, and it's most of the time, and I'm also accused of having monologues that when I started speaking, I just continue to speak. So this time around, Bajaj came up with the idea. I said, look, maybe this time around, instead of you answering the questions, instead of you speaking your experiences, we open up the floor in terms of if we have a dream, let's suppose, whatever, because all of us are in the trading world, either for financial freedom. I mean, the love and the passion is there, but at the end of the day, we all want to make money out of it. And we all, I think, we have a dream of getting to a point where we are sustainably, sufficiently, we can rely on trading to sustain our lives. And this is where what I've seen over the last 5, 6 months of YouTube and the community is like, okay, well, yeah, there are EAs and there are trading strategies and we have discussions, risk management, this and that. But what I sometimes feel that there's a lack of is I don't sense what's the plan. So I do want to pose that questions in the open floor, either on the friends who are watching this on YouTube and all the participants who are there on the call today. Because, and I'll drag a little bit longer because I've heard things like, oh, if I have a good EA, if I had a good strategy. But let's suppose if you do find a very good strategy or a very good EA which consistently can make money the way that you want it to make money, or you get 3, 4, 5, 10 as a portfolio, then what? Because that's the part which is very unclear to me. I see everybody trying very hard to learn stuff. More clearly, what I see a lot is there is a chase for the next best EA. And in my head, this question always pops up like, until what time are we searching? And at what time do we start applying and having a clear plan of, okay, this is what I need to get me from here to there. This is how am I going to find the things that I need. And once I'm satisfied with what I have found, then these are the next logical steps, milestones, however you want to call them, to get me where I want to get. And this is why I put the title of the, which didn't show up, which is, okay, well, let's say $1,000 to $1 million. Okay, how do we do it? What's the plan? And that is the end of my monologue. So I'm hoping that somebody picks up from here and goes like, okay, well, this is how I think.
Yeah, so my idea was that we were having this hypothetical conversation that let's say, you know, everyone on the call and everybody that we are trying to reach out to, they had all the EAs that we have, they had all the stuff that we, or all the knowledge that we had. Then how would we go from, let's say, 1,000 to million? Well, were those
Whatever.
the two figures that we were talking about? So what would be the plan? How many of us would actually be comfortable putting in, let's say, 100,000, or maybe once you get to like zero point 0.5 million, how comfortable would we be maybe putting it with IC Markets or another broker? So how does that work out? Like, how do we go from $1,000 to $1 million? And yeah, the floor is open.
No, and guys, this is not a request for an AUM setup. This is not as like, okay, well, here, we have been here for the last 8 months, so let's put up a fund and then let's start trading together. But in just generally speaking, once you get to a point where you are comfortable with, and let's put it this way. I mean, there's a lot of discussion of the new momentum here. Okay, when is that coming? When is that coming? Every day I at least have 4 or 5 messages of when are you releasing the momentum here? And let's suppose even if it does what it does in the backtest, or even if it does, let's say 10% of what it does in the backtest, then what? That's the part which is very unclear. I think, I mean, during when me and Bajaj were discussing this, I was like, okay, look, I mean, we can open up the floor on this, but I suspect there's going to be a long silence, which is a good thing. I mean, let's reflect on that. What exactly are we trying to do here? Are we chasing EAs? Are we chasing trading strategies? What's the dream? And then what does it take to because look, I think the reason I'm asking this question is because no matter what I look at, and this is where Vajahat comes in very handy. If I ever have an idea or a concept or something that I want to do, try, whatever, he is the devil's advocate in the sense of he's gonna ask me very probing question of okay, well, how? What will you do then? What will you then do then? If this happens, then how you? So having all sorts of angles checked. And this probably is one part where I think our community in the let's say Discord, can also be very helpful to challenge each other on. One thing which I can, for example, Standard at some point in time had a very, I wouldn't say, a very definite plan that this is what I'm going to do over the next 6 months. Now, whether or not it happens is another thing, but at least he had a very clear, this is where I want to get to in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year. But do we all have that clarity in our head? Because otherwise, we're just ambulance chasing 1 year after another year after another year after another year. And not to say a lot about the scalping year, but for example, the scalping year over the last 4 months has made about what, 70%? But then there is still that's like, okay, well, when is the momentum year coming? And when is the new year, next year coming? And the next year after that? And then let's suppose, say, in the next 8 to 10 months, even if I end up sharing, or if I can manage to share all of the stuff that I have, then what? Then okay, well, then this bucket of years is empty. We now move on to somebody else to go. It's like, okay, well, where is the next year? So that's the question in my head.
So, Jay, I hear your question, and I'm willing and very happy to share my expectations and where I would like to see myself. I don't know if that's a starting point, and if we all did that, would we find commonality of purpose and move forward? But yeah, we can start there. Why are we here? Why is each one of us here? What are our personal expectations? And then we find the common thread and try to fulfill that, is the suggestion.
Which
Can
which
I make you one comment? Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, please go.
I am new here, and I am new here. But first of all, I want to say thank you for you to share your codes and to share your experience with us. Actually, in the last Saturday when we went in the live, I share what is my proposal is like try to create some automation that keep my accounts alive and I don't need to because it's difficult to trade 5 accounts at the same time and I don't use the copy trade things like copy trade I don't use but it's from all your software that I code I caught from YouTube. I test the scalp, I test the reversal, and I test the Shimoku. And honestly speak, the most pro and constantly is the reversal. It's very, very, very profitable. And I put today to run, and he, with a small loss, he did 17 euros. The scalp last week I run in one of my accounts and he did around 100 something but after have a big loss. I just want to say for the prop firms because I start with FMO and for me is the scammer, sorry to say this, don't want to I think we are traders and if we are traders try to do something for improve our lives and we need to avoid this kind of guys sell courses and show Lamborghinis and the other guys try to get our money and plus brokers and plus the prop firms. But last first time when I failed the FTMO in the last August, and I traded from 2021. I try to figure out how I can adapt my trade style to the prop firms. And with your software, it's great. It's really great. He works. The only problem here is like find a way to tune the loss. Cut the loss fast as possible because he's really profitable. The only problem that I face is I got the three loss in the line, and this basically smashed the last profit on the last day. But what I try to share, I think I wrote in the channel too regarding this. We need to consider the proper the capital that you have there to trade is not the amount that you have as a balance. You need to at least consider only what you can lose in your stop loss, and this should be the true money that you can use as margin. Because if you try to use more one way or the another, you will touch the 3% or 5% depending on the prop farm. And the best way that I found to manage this risk and reward, basically simple in simple way is divide what you have the value that you have a tradable by 61 times, means 20 trades per day. And you can use the fixed lots that I think is not the best approach, or you can use a fractal. You increase the lot as you proceed. But I think is if we wanted to, if you put the software to run your personal account, no problem. Because what is the problem with the scalp is drawdown. And the drawdown sometimes is more than 3%. It's amazing. If you put in your account, your personal account, you have a maximum 8 9%, but this is nothing after he recover and go there. And but the prop firm, we have here a problem. When you have a 3% daily stop, you lose the account. Of course, you can limit there in the parameters and put less, but I think the way to tune and try to find here a balance between the stop loss maybe will be great to make the robot. And the other thing that I did, I basically, and yes, he worked much better for me. Sorry, I speak too much interrupting.
No, I mean it's good because I mean most of the time if it's just me speaking, that kills the purpose because it needs to be an interactive dialogue because this is how I learn as well, and I'm learning every day as much as probably anybody else on the call. So now I understand the point. And coming back to the scalping year, again, I don't know if talking about one EA, one strategy is is what really addresses the point. My my brain was more going in the direction of let's say even if you do manage to get that perfect EA or that perfect setup or a portfolio, what's the route are we taking? Are you guys more interested in prop firms? And is that really a viable option? Because I personally have never tried prop firms, but all that I hear about them is it's like walking on a tightrope. It's like the slightest of vibration and you have a dead juggler. Because they're always looking for something, one way or the other, to make you fail. So even let's suppose with whatever strategy or EA or combination of EAs, you do manage to pass the program challenge for once, and then you get to the let's say funded phase. What happens then? And how does it take us to a stage where I don't suppose that everybody is looking for a full financial freedom and just trading to be their profession. Most people probably look at trading as a side venture, a side income to help. But does prop firm really? I mean, we have a lot of people here, and then we have people on YouTube as well. Does anybody have that kind of an experience with prop firms?
I have.
The,
I've
And
blown quite a few accounts with proffers actually. Just when the US just went out, I kind of blew like 500k worth of prop firm money. So yeah,
Yes, in my case, I agree with you. Sorry, I want to. Your name is Ya Jahat or Vayahat? Sorry, I asked only to speak in correct way.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Wajahat.
what? Vajahat.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you
What I
got that right.
saw Vajahat.
Sorry?
Uh, the the profit firms is not for give money for no one because the guys don't put the your trades in the market. And only this week when I did a deep research, I really understood how work CFDs because you have the exchange market that the movement per day 7 trillion. This exchange means banks when you go buy something, when you travel, whatever else. After you have the CFDs, forex, these don't move 7 trillion per day. These move only around 300, 400 billion per day. Okay, here's the point. CFDs only is like a game that you use the exchange values and clear for everyone to understand. Okay, then if it generates 300 billions per day, where comes this liquidity? We are the liquidity. This is the fact. This is the truth. This is the reason that before you have so much conflict between brokers, that the brokers put the order opposite in your order to get your money. The broker do everything to get your money, and the prop firm is in the same direction. Of course, if you get illegal brokers, then forgot. You never you see any money, even when you were super profit. But if you have a good broker, yes, you get money, but I think it will be very difficult for you if you we start with account 10,000, move it to 300, 400, will be very difficult to take the money from there. Prop firms, if you get, for example, the famous one, I will not say the name to not create problem for your channel again. These companies don't have full of money. This is the truth. Live with your money and they try to make everything for you not to get your money when you pass the challenge. This is the reason you have situations 14 days or more days for you withdraw your money. Why? Because he wants that you continue to play for you to lose. If you don't do this, if you move too fast in the challenge, the guys will find some reason to say to you that you violate some rules there that they don't stay in the contract or is very difficult interpretation. I used another prop firm is okay. The difference of this prop firm, the guys have a pool of 300 something, but I think it's thousands of millions, of course. I'm not sure now. Because I need to check what I saw in the right way. And even when you get founded, you don't get any account that connects you with the exchange. You get account that connects you with the pool with this money, and they conform your win rate, your profit factor, and recover factor. You will have, for example, a percentage of this pool when you trade. The guys send your trade there. Basically, whatever what prop firm you try to use, you always will trade demo accounts, in accounts. Forgot, you never trade directly. Then the point here is why you have these rules about the daily stop loss or all this blah blah blah. A lot of rules that don't let the trade develop by himself. Uh, is just to get your money, just to make the things difficult for you not to proceed. And when you proceed, you try to prevent you to get money. And the other thing that I understood was new for me. I discovered spot forex. What this means? This is the unique way to really participate in the with the real money in the exchange. But even in this way, you are forced to buy contracts. Of course, when you buy contracts, means you buy the asset, but it's not for 1,000, thousand. You really should to have money. And the difference is when you want to buy a current, you don't push the button and okay, here's my order open. No, it's only 24 hours after the next day, less or more, around the 24 hours. Then it's another game. But for us that trade the CFDs, we needed to know the market. We need to know what we do there, and we can't jump to the market with broker or with a prop firm and think we will be millionaires. Forgot. All these guys that is say to you that he making millions or blah blah blah, trade forex and show Lamborghinis, Porsche, jets. Forgot. He makes his money because we buy courses from this guy. This is the reality. And if the guy live in the USA, forgot. USA citizen can trade CFD. Punct. No chance. Then for us that is try to use the prop firms to get try to get some money to after apply this money in our personal account, we need to have in mind this rule about the prop firm. Because for example, I can give an example. I can share if you want. I did in 2 days. I complete 6% of the account. But of course, I need only 20 euros, 20 something euros to finish the challenge. I have doubts about my analysis. I'm not sure. Even when we are sure, you know how the market reacts. You open for one side, move to the another. But when your size is a little bit not so big, but you know, if you move like 200 points distance, will start to make damage. Then I have two positions open, and when I did my calcs, I say, okay, 23 o'clock, I have 120 euros left for hit the daily stop, and will be enough. But the truth, I was cut by the daily stop loss. And it is creates some motivate because you work hard 2 days to do 6% in the account, and after you cut you lose the account that did not stay negative from the start balance, they stay negative in your own profit, then we need to have attention on it. And this is the reason I say we need to tune the prop firm, the robot, to have these considerations. And I think you'll be more slowly to do the process. Yes, will, but will help you to guarantee some profits. But to be honest, if you don't know trade and try to use only the AA for bots, it's better you not stay in the market. You need to understand a little bit. You need to have your strategy. You need to be at least with the capability to identify where is support resistance. The price, maybe the robot open one position now in the bottom or in the top. Will you have a possibility really to move in your direction or not? And without this knowledge, you will get so much stuff, and you will lose anyway. And I think what you did, like incentive people code, learn to code, understand the strategy, see how this works. And I basically I transformed the scalp in multi-current, and I transformed the Ishimoku and the reverse. Ishimoku I did multi-currents too, and the reverse in all my scripts now have your window to manage the drawdown. But yes, this is what I can share regarding prop funds. Be with attention. Of course, if you have a money like 3,000 to
This is
5,000, a good start.
yeah, and this is where Vajat was starting the discussion, which was if you even if, let's say if you have the money, say if you have 100,000 euros or 200,000 euros, would we be comfortable trading with our own money, knowing that the markets and I mean all of us have experienced phases in the market where it's quite dangerous, it's quite risky. And this is where I would never advise anyone to, unless you start with something small and you grow it up to become something big, do not gamble your money on something which can be very vicarious, for the lack of a better word. And where I'm coming from in this entire discussion is because I started somewhere back in June, July. I had the idea. It's like, look, I mean, I've been using certain things that I've written for myself. It doesn't take away anything from me if I share them. It's not like, okay, well, if somebody else also has my robot and he's using my EA as well, that I will be less profitable. Uh, it's still the same for me. So yeah. Then there were a couple of other things as well. I like to make this kind of stuff. I enjoy being in front of the camera. I like to do creative stuff. There is something that I probably will try and finish, which in my head at least is a very creative thing. Vajad can disagree. Uh, so I continue to enjoy making these videos. I enjoy more than sitting down and doing a coding video. I enjoy making the other videos which are a bit more dramatic and with a storyline and those kind of things. It's fun for me. So I'll continue to do it. But at some point in time, I started to feel like the reason I started the channel or the aim, or not the aim, I mean, it's the wrong word to say aim. Probably a better word would be like what my intention was, or what I was, or what vibe I was going for was more of a, well, here I am. This is what I've learned. This is what I've written. If it's any help at all, it's available to you guys. But it's slowly and gradually it's starting to become a trading robot marketplace. And I get more of a vibe from it's like, hey, Mister, when is the next robot coming? Even the first comment on the YouTube stream today, where I'm broadcasting this, the very first comment is, what's the comment, Vajat? Can you read it for me? The very first comment is, I think it is,
Strategy.
where is the EA?
Yeah, the fourth or fifth comment
Yeah,
is
it's like, okay, give me an EA for gold. Like, no, I'm not going to give you an EA for gold. I don't have one. That's not the purpose of us having this community and having these discussions. I mean, otherwise, yeah, fine, okay, well, I can also just upload all of my EAs and then be done with it. That's it. But I've gone through a very long journey of 10, 12 years, and in my head, it was more like, okay, well, if when I was starting in this world of trading, I wish I had somebody that I could pick up on. I wish I had somebody that I could listen to. Not somebody who's a guru, not somebody who's super successful, but somebody who has seen the thick of things, somebody who has a bit of experience, so that I can get a little bit of snippets here and there from him. And that's in my head is still what I want to share with the world. And one of the things which I keep saying in all the videos, like one of the reasons why I do all of this is because one day I will die and all of the things that I'm making will remain. So, that's like living through the stuff that I'm making. And also, it gives me a little bit of satisfaction as well in the sense because what I have learned a lot of it from people on YouTube as well. I mean, small snippets, something from here, something from there, something from there, something from there. And then I've been able to put together something which works for me. One, it wouldn't necessarily work for everyone. But what I miss is the part about what is it that we are trying to achieve here. I mean, I had a plan, or not a plan, but the plan was sort of, I mean, it happened upon me. But at some point in time, when I got enough interest in my trading out of some people in the Far East, but then at least I had a very clear vision of, okay, if I'm leaving my corporate career, this is what I'm leaving it for. this is what my plan is for the next 2 years, for the next 4 years, for the next 6 years, for the next 10 years. Even starting this YouTube channel or this community, there is at least in my head a vision of over the next 2 years, over the next 4 years, over the next 5 years, 10 years. How do I see this developing? What I don't find in most of the stuff that's either sent to me through emails or written to me in comments in the YouTube or in the discussion, it sounds very haphazard to me. Maybe it's just my own feeling, and this is why I wanted to have that question, because most of the time when we have these calls, is normally people ask me questions and I give them my 2 cents. Not saying that look, I and one of the things which I always which I continue to say is like, look, I'm not a guru. I don't walk on water. I don't turn water into wine. I cannot cure the you know, like people with leprosy. Uh, I'm just another dude who has been in the market long enough. That's it. And this is where, like, okay, even if you, in my head, what I have to give is not the EAs. What I can give is my mistakes, my learnings, my opinions, my 2 cents, and not that these are golden words of wisdom that everybody should follow. But it's more of us like it's a dialogue of look, this is what I have experienced, this is what I have seen in the world, this is what I have experienced in trading, and then I'm very open to hearing from the other side as well. It's like, okay, what are your opinions? But I see a chase for EAs, and that's where, at least in my head, it's very unclear. It's like, look, are we chasing EAs? Are we chasing prop firms? And prop firms, I understand in part that look, it's a dream that once you pass the first stage, you get to the second. I'm not that literate on prop firms, so pardon me if I'm going in the wrong direction. But at some point in time, you get a very sizable account to manage, and then you manage it profitably. So probably you have a profit sharing, and say if you're making on a 1 million account, let's suppose $20,000 a month, 2%, then you can earn, I don't know, maybe 30%, 40%, 50%, so maybe up to 10,000 euros a month in payouts. Sounds good to me. But then what? And is that the plan? Or are there other ways to achieve the same means as well? Which is at the end of the day, having a sustainable source of income that we can rely on. I mean, either together with a corporate career that we are still following, or at some point in time, if it becomes big enough that we want to leave the corporate world or whatever businesses that we're running and we want to focus completely on trading. I'm trying to get a bit of an idea of which direction do most of us are aiming, if that makes sense.
I think someone can speak too, because if you let me, we can keep this conversation so long.
Yeah, look, I think for me personally, I have an interest in IT and computers. That has been my career. I have an interest in trading. If I can put the both together and obtain freedom of time and financial freedom, that is the plus for me. My models or role models are people like Jim Parsons, where he built a company and an algorithm that returned 66%, which is probably the most profitable algo trading, and the other one is Liang Wenfeng, who is the founder of DeepSeek that used AI to do the trading. The purpose of the trading for me is to generate an income to support my family. Those are the first steps. Whilst infallible, they are non-emotional because a large part about trading is trading psychology, which leaves you fallible, and that's where mistakes are made. So if the EAs are running in the background and generating a certain minimum percent, it gives you the freedom to take the trades manually that you see an opportunity or are A plus setups without the pressure of having to generate revenue every day. So the guys that are just looking to buy EAs, I don't, yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make a call, Jay, that what your vision was and do you want to encourage them? For me, I'm very happy to be in
डिबेट
a
तो
community of
मुझसे
traders and a
या फिर
community of
डिबेट कर लो तुम मुझसे
people
तुम
that,
डिबेट
that
कर लो
are
कोई नहीं आप पूछ रहा था
using IT. And I think that there's a lot more that we can do other than EAs moving forward, ultimately, maybe having an EA agent. I know I can't do it on my own, but I think with the community, we can do it. So that's my 2 cents.
yeah. No, which is very valid, but okay, maybe I should ask the question a little bit differently. And there's one topic that you touched upon, which is sort of becoming, at least in my head, very, very important. I mean, me and Vajat, day before yesterday, we were sitting on the rooftop, and I think we continued discussing about it, and it was like 4:30 in the morning, and we didn't even realize is the AI part, which is all of us know. I mean, I don't think that anybody on this call or anybody on YouTube who's watching this stream would disagree that maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, AI would be the thing, unless either you're in it or you're completely irrelevant. Are we really putting in our foot? And this is what I was saying to Vaja. It's like, look, I'm not that much into AI, and I think I'm now old. At some point in time, when I turned 40, I said to my daughter that, look, the first 40 years of my life, I have learned to be a certain way. It will take me another 40 years to unlearn it to become something different. But then what I'm realizing at the age of 46 is like how wrong I am. It's like the pace that I need to continue to learn is actually increasing to remain relevant in tomorrow when AI starts doing what we are doing. I mean, all these Chinese families and the Malaysian families and the Middle Eastern families, they would switch zero thoughts at all. And how long can I and Vajat remain relevant with the human brain and information that we have and what we have learned? It is very relevant today, but would it still be relevant in 5 years? Would it still be relevant in 10 years? I have no idea. And this is what I was saying to Bajaj. It's like, look, I think, I mean, we really, really, really need to start embarking on that AI platform and journey and be at the forefront of what is happening and understand it and try and develop something out of it so that we can still be, that's a very relevant when finally we get to a point where these machines start to do better than what humans can. Because I'm still hoping that in some way or form, there would still be a human requirement to manage the AI. But I don't see that much in, I mean, I see that Vajad has posted a few videos on machine learning, for example. I mean, there is little interest. I see people with huge dreams, but no action plans. And going back to what I was saying, it's like maybe I should pose the question a little bit differently. Like I had my own idea of, okay, well, this is what I want to do, which is one, it should be fun for me to do. Otherwise, why am I doing it? It's going to become a chore and I wouldn't like doing it. So everything that I'm going to do on the YouTube channel, within the space, here in the community, is something that comes out of straight from my own heart and my own imagination and my own creativity and my own fun. I really want to enjoy it. So I'll continue doing it the way that I enjoy it. But then maybe the question is that relevant for you guys? Or am I wasting my time and your time as well? And as I always say, it's like, look, computers you can buy, robots you can buy, tools you can buy. Time is the most valuable resource on the planet. It's like there is no way you can buy more time. There is 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. And if there is something that you guys feel that, look, I mean, maybe in the end, again, even on the EAs and trading robots, my idea is not to share the robots. My idea is not to say, oh, well, here is this golden goose, which is going to lay a golden egg every second day. I don't suppose that happens. One. And secondly, the entire idea for me to be sharing this is sort of, look, if I start sharing my own passion for this is how you write codes in MQL, that's going to be boring enough for people to want to jump out of a window. I mean, at least for me, it is. I cannot follow a course where it's like, okay, now today we are going to write, I don't know, moving average. This is how you do price structure. This is how you code W formation, whatever. It becomes more interesting when you are developing something. And I'll be very honest. So, for example, I mean, this panel that you see in the prop firm version of the EA, I have never had the need for a panel to look at my stats, because normally what I do is my EAs run during the week unless there is a major event in the world, unless Donald Trump opens his mouth or Elon Musk says something on the Twitter. No need to look at them. And then I will normally look at them at the end of the week to see how the week went. And then if there is something over the last 3 4 weeks, if I'm developing an intuition or a feeling that no, maybe the market is going this way or that way, then I'll make certain tweaks to my ears, tone some down, tone some up, maybe make some changes, blah blah. But never needed a panel. And then because a lot of people were saying, well, can this scalping EA be used on prop firm? And my answer was no, because it doesn't have drawdown controls. It doesn't have a few features. And then I thought, like, fine, why not put it? Because if it's useful for people to learn how to do it. And I looked around on internet. I looked around on YouTube. It's like, well, how do you create a panel in MQL? I didn't know how to create a panel. So I looked around, found a few videos, looked through them, and like, okay, fine, yeah, this sounds good. This sounds a very common sense, efficient way of creating something which is going to give all the stats in one go, have some drawdown control, so that people don't have to worry about every day, everything. And this is how I want my coding videos to be perceived as well. These are not scalping EA codes. These are not RSI Bollinger Band. These are not momentum EAs. These are videos on how do you convert a concept from your brain and tell it to a machine in a language that machine can understand and do it for you. Because inherently, I'm very lazy. If there's something that the machine can do for me, then why am I doing it? But that is that what is coming across? Because what I see, and this again, I think I'm beating the same dead horse again and again. What I'm feeling is that, like, okay, well, oh, but your EA doesn't work. Like, yeah, I don't care. Do my codes work? Did you learn how to do this in an automated language? Now, can you, if you have another idea in your head which is very similar, where you can use maybe a drawdown control on a daily basis or a weekly basis, or you want to set profit, like whatever you want to do. If there is a concept that you have, did what I tried to show you how to achieve it, did that work?
I fully agree with you because in my case, why I start to search for something, because I started, as I say, starting 2021 without any experience in the market, and after I expanded basically around the 8 months,
YouTube वालों को
9 months
आवाज जा रही है सही से?
to code the
पूछा लगा
J4X code
YouTube वालों को
in
आवाज जा रही है सही से?
Java. And after next year, I expand the whole year try, because I work with database, Oracle database, and I work from my 15 years old with computers. Then I'm very comfortable in different sectors, different areas in computer. So I prefer database and coding. Coding only for me, not for others, because as you say, and you say well, the people forgot that the value of your intellectual is much more than other things. The only thing that can have a more value than our intellectual is the time, because we can't buy time. This time we expended here with this conversation was done. You don't live more this moment, and the people forgot this. This is the problem. And don't give value for your time. Don't give value for intellectual. And in my case, then after I started in 2023 exactly, I expanded basically the whole year with the AI. My conclusion is good for some kind of task where you have like create chatbots, yes, okay, you put him to training with 1,000 histories, books, and whatever else what you give, of course, he will find the code, will find the way to create phrases and after go in this direction. But in my experience with the ChatGPT, for example, ChatGPT for me, because in 2004, 2005, I remember this. I start to think about the AI, and everyone, when they talk about the AI, laugh about me. Say, "You are idiot. We never will have at least one computer to do all these things." And they say, maybe now not, but when someone start really work on it, you see that something will come. And true, it's nothing more than probability and in the fast way. Because, for example, ChatGPT, what the problems that I face with ChatGPT? You put the question, you put what you want, very well structured. He started to do the things. He tried to create the codes. He created the code in true. He have a database, for example, about Python, and he tried to see in the database what match what we want. But in the end, what I think this is AI is a little bit scam, to be honest. Why I say this? It's useful, yes, but not in the way that everyone still thinks. Why I say? Because you ask for him to do a code, he create the code, you report the error in the compilation. After what he tried to do, he tried to solve the error. He go far away from the goal, from the proposal from your code, and it don't have a memory. How to say? He don't recall what you say before, what you don't say. The unique goal is solve your question. Then this is not intelligence. You don't have any intelligence behind. You have a high computations behind with high probability. The only thing that you have here use cycles of the memory to check what you have a more how to say, increase your the things that you answer correct. Nothing else more. Because intelligence is not only answer you, it's capable to analyze, capable to understand, and capable to form create a concept, create the idea behind what you observe. Then the AI today don't have this kind of the capability. Now, then I lose time with the AI. I try to code because I trade Ishimoku, to be honest. For me, in my case, Ishimoku works perfectly. I profitable with Ishimoku. I don't have a problem. But of course, as a human being, I have my bad days. I have my mistakes, and this I try to code something. Then regarding this, but better than ChatGPT. This last weekend, I tested this in this weekend is the Grok from the X. Normally, he gives the codes, copy paste, compile, execute. Really good for code. Really, really. For other things, I don't know. I never used the ChatGPT for other things, only for code. DeepSeek, of course, if you get the model, probably the guys stole the model from some parts and they only put it there, you have a less work. This is other point. Of course, if you create models over models over model, and you train your last model based in the other models that you create, of course, you will pass in much more better efficient. This is logic. Who work with IT can understand this very easy. But Grok is really good. I can say with ChatGPT, almost time I say, okay, forgot. I code by hand, copy here, copy there. You help me here, correct the code, and sometimes I need to do so many things by hand, like improve, save time for typing, but not create a true idea with logic, structure, and connect and the other things. This I try to say. Grok in this case is much better to code when he make a proposal, make logic, make sense. At least for MTL. Python, I test to the code, copy paste and compile, no problem. But in the end, all the tests that I did with the AI, what is the problem with AI? The function, the first functions that you have in the previous versions for Python is to find a balance, to find a point in the middle. What this means, of course, if yourself, if you look for your charts the 1 week and repeat this 100 times, 100% sure after 16 times you started to have 100% of the win rates. You are not stupid. No one is stupid to don't have a capability to do the same thing 1,000 miles. And this happened with the AI. But the problem here is the functions behind. The functions behind is designed to find the balance in the middle. Then what all the tests that I did is profitable when you do the test, yes, but have a limitation. When you reach like 160% of the accounts, he stopped to grow up. He just try to he make a win after he make loss to compensate the win to stay in the middle. I try to do several things to balance this. You only create problems, and when you create problems, then he is not more profitable. He don't go anywhere. Then I think AI is good to help us to code, but I agree what you say. We need to use the group to improve, use our intellect, use our experience. As you say, what you share is experience. And if you really have a people in the group that no trade, no manual trade, have your strategy is profitable. Uh, for example, I try to code Ishimo by myself in several different ways. The maximum that I got was 20% in 1 week. But I do much more than 20% in 1 week. Then I say why? And when have a loss, a big loss. Then I say why you use some kind of bot. Then after when I saw the scalp idea, I say, oh, this can be good because I am a scalper too, to be honest. And when they see your idea, so this is good. This is like keep the account live, do 1-2 euros per shot is enough for me. And when you stay in drawdown, for example, my stress, I lose 80k accounts founded. I have a lot of stress. I start to make mistakes. After when I get a loss of 2000k, after 3000k, then I come down, recover. Took 3 days to recover to this near to the same value. Continue with a lot of stress in my life. What happened? Again, 2000, 1K, 2000K. Again, the same mistakes, the same problems. Then the third week, when I try again to do something, come back to the point, and after stress, after a lot of things, you start to be greedy because I not accepted to have a 5,000k loss in the account. I try to recover and recover fast. Then it start to grow up again, but after another loss. For me, the code something have one bot is help us to minimize the drawdown. Yes.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very valid
So
point. I think that's some of the things that we've been mentioning as well. That the point that there will be one EA, one universal EA, which will perform in all conditions under all market situations, is not possible or not feasible at all. Some EAs love volatility, others don't. Some EAs love uh, risk, others don't. So it's like it's a mix and match of EAs and portfolio that can actually serve you. But I think one of the key points that Bhaijin mentioned a couple of times was the fact that AI related uh, AI is coming soon. And the problem is that it's when I look at it and I posted it in the comments as well, what happens when AI meet quantum computing? Because at the moment, if you go and try to make a very big neural network, like let's say 1,000 layers of neural network, like 1,000 nodes, that's just not possible with the existing technology. But once we have quantum computing, and once that becomes a reality, and I think you were talking about Chat GPT and Grok, and you were mentioning that some are good with coding. I think DeepSeek is really good with coding. Chat GPT is more creative. Grok is slightly less diplomatically correct than the others. But the whole idea is that once those neural networks become longer and longer, we don't even know what machines will be capable of doing. Because right now, all the intelligence that we know is human intelligence, the best intelligence is human intelligence, which is very limited. Like the neural networks that our brain can form are very small, they cannot digest as much information, and then we cannot store all of that information time. So our processing capacity is low, as well as the nodes in the neural network uh, cannot be as much as there will be once quantum computing goes online. Already there's talk of algo traders, and I'm not talking about the regular MQLs or Pythons. I'm talking about like wealth managers using their algo systems, which are built by big companies. Those algo systems are so fast that they can execute on certain news items, they can do sentiment analysis and act on that in milliseconds. And what I don't know about, and what I debate with Bhaijan a lot of the times, is how will that change the landscape of retail trading? Now, just 30, 40 years ago, trading was so simplistic that people would actually go to an exchange, shout the number that they want to bid, and the trading will take place based on that. And that's like 40 years ago. In 40 years, we've gone to that point where with one click sitting at our home, we can buy and sell. And the growth is exponential. So that means that God knows what's going to happen in the next 10 years. So coming back to that point about the complete change in maybe the dynamics of how machine learning or AI or quantum computing will just completely change the landscape of retail trading. And that's why one of the biggest things is not just to have maybe one EA or one strategy or one Python code. The overall idea should be to stay abreast of whatever latest technology or language exists out there. The bottom line would be who can communicate better with the machine. Maybe 10 years, 15 years from now, the person who will make the most amount of money will be the person who knows how to communicate with the machine efficiently, fast, and that person must stay abreast of the latest technologies. Maybe today we have Python, machine learning, God knows what we will have 15 years from now. So that's where that whole idea of maybe relying on strategies, even if we found the most perfect EA today, who knows 5 years from now that EA, what that EA would be doing.
Guys, just let me know if you can hear me. I just switched to the computer because the phone battery is dying. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yep.
So when I was talking about AI and stuff like that, I posted two links in the chat. One to Renaissance Technologies and the other one is High Flyer. Um, if you get a chance, please have a look at that. I don't think AI in the form of large language models like Grok and ChatGPT are necessarily going to be the answer or the direction that I would like to see it go. But there are things available today, like NVIDIA's widgets, a desktop $3,000 computer that's capable of loading a large language model on your desktop, which didn't exist. I think AIs will work today. Their step will only ever embody coding for the person that designed it, but it's not going to be able to strategize or do anything out of it's been called to do. That's where I think that the step from EA to machine language learning is an important step. What's the step after that? How do we get it to the point we have algorithm trading or automatic trading happening at a reasonable speed without requiring um, us to keep tuning it. So yes, you're right. There are other companies that have got bigger, larger, faster computers. But if you look at High Flyer built DeepSeek as a side project of the AI that they were using for trading, for hedge fund trading. So I hope that maybe there's a gap that we can find, that we can leverage what other people have done before us and what new technologies are available. I mean, who knows what this new $3,000 digit computer is capable of computationally? We don't. But I think that if we stay on the EA, then followed by machine language learning, and then whatever else is next, if we have to use LLMs to help us to code in the interims, so be it. But they don't produce the perfect code, and it's not necessarily going to be the end all and be all. That's just my clarification on what I was trying to say earlier.
I fully agree, Ron. I think the point that I'm trying to get across, and maybe I'm struggling a little bit, is this entire idea and ambition for success, whether it's within the world of trading or any other field, it doesn't come out of, I mean, at least in today's world, maybe it was a little bit different in 1990s and then early 2000s, but in today's world, it's not so much about what skills do you have today, it's about what skills do you continue to acquire. And I fully agree with everybody who's speaking about the AI not being up to par today, but just imagine, just remember how it used to be 2 years ago and how far it has come in the last year and a half, 2 years. I mean, DeepSeek, I mean, ChatGPT, fine, I also agree, but DeepSeek, one, open source, and secondly, the amount of capability it has shown, I was amazed. And that also scared me a little bit as well, which is if that is the pace of learning, what would happen in the next 10 years? I mean, we're all going to probably live another 20, 25 years, 30 years. And then more than that, I mean, our children are coming up. I mean, they will have to probably live in a world which is going to be so different from the world today for the next 60 years, 70 years. And I'm still sending my kids to the schools where they're still sitting them down on desks and trying to teach them on the blackboard or a whiteboard. And this is what gives me a little bit of a disconnect between how fast the world is changing versus how tightly and dearly are we holding on to the old notions of this used to work, so it will continue to work. And that's my entire point. And this is my entire idea of the channel and the discussions. Like just to, it's not about the years, it's not about the robots, it's not about MQL, it's not about MetaTrader. It's more about the passion to remain abreast with the technological advancements which are coming and which are happening in the world today. And that's what I'm at least trying to push through as a learning for, like, at least I have that passion. I want to be at the forefront of whatever it is relevant today and whatever will be relevant in the next 5, 10 years. But then I also want to share that passion with other people and hopefully inspire that passion in maybe a few handful ones.
Yeah, and I just want to add a couple of more things to this. So, at the core of it, trading is just some rules that or some patterns that you can find in a large amount of data or in charts. Even when a human being tries to trade manually, all they're doing is trying to find patterns and follow some rules to trade successfully. And when we're talking about the fact that a couple of years from now, when we have, especially after quantum computing and AI both are in action, finding those patterns and finding those rules may not be as challenging as it might be today. And the other thing is that there's a very famous saying by Andy Grove. He said that only the paranoid survives. And this sentence has probably not made as much sense in the entire human history as it does today, because now the rate of change in the world is so fast that what until 15 years ago we didn't even have smartphones, and now look at us, like we're completely dependent on smartphones. and this rate of change is going to increase. So it's not like the rate of change that was there in the past 15 years is going to be the same in the next 15 years. Maybe the amount of change that we saw in the past 15 years is going to happen in the next 7 years now. Who knows? And in fact, you can bet on it. You can actually say that there's a much higher probability that the rate of change in the next 7 years will be as much or even higher than the rate of change that was there in the past 15 years. So when we take into account all of that, we can come to this conclusion that we don't know what the future holds, but we can be certain of one thing, that future will not be the same as it is today. Like 10 years from now, world will be very different. We can all make our own bets on what it would look like, and maybe 70-80% of us will be wrong. It may look completely different than what we can even imagine today, but it will be extremely different from what it is today. So that's why this whole idea of staying abreast of whatever latest knowledge exists, and worst case, it doesn't happen. Like the whatever we were expecting from AI or quantum computing, it doesn't materialize. Great. I mean, we still have our
It's
ears. We
gonna
still have
happen.
the. Let's just imagine, for argument's sake, it doesn't happen. Even in that case, yes, we will still have our ears. We will still have all the knowledge that we have today. But I think there has never been a more urgent time in human history, or a better time to be more paranoid than it is now. So, yeah, I think we should all just expect that the next 10 years, the world will be so different. I think just Chat GPT in the last 2 years, how much has it changed the world? And some of the companies, as you were mentioning, Renaissance Technologies, and I think you were talking about the other one, something Flyer. I'm not familiar with that one. Renaissance Technology, I'm also familiar with. But yeah, those firms are coming up. Yes, it's not available to retail traders yet, but who knows what the future holds. I'm pretty certain that 10 years from now, the amount of trading that is being done manually versus algorithmically is going to change very drastically.
And we go to Shex because I think he has a comment to make as well. But just a couple of points, Rajat, on what you said. One, I mean, okay, I'll take it as an argument for argument's sake that maybe this entire AI shebang that we all anticipate is going to happen, maybe it will not happen. I don't see how it will not happen. One, and secondly is whichever direction, and also while limited to trading, I mean, trading is not the end all and be all of life. I mean, every single aspect of our lives is impacted by how the technology is improving. But two questions that I will come back to, which is one, because me and Bajaj, we still want to continue to share whatever we, small 2 cents that we have. So it's not about the years, but more about, okay, well, how can we help better? What are you guys? Because the point, me and Bajaj, we have a lot of discussion, we have a lot of debates, we even have fights, and very emotional, charged fights. By the end of the day, if I see him going in the wrong direction, I would be the first one to, grab him by his ear and go like, no, you're not going in that direction, or why are you not putting in the effort that way? And if he sees me, I'm the elder one, so he cannot grab me by the ear. But if he sees me lagging behind or not putting in the effort that I should be putting in, he's gonna be the first one to tell me. It's like what kind of an. I mean, his famous words are when I used to finish at like 7 o'clock in the evening. His famous words were like, "What kind of an example are you setting for your kids that you're home before the sun is set?" Uh, so he's gonna be the first one. But in my head at least, all of the people who are here on the call, everybody who's sitting there on YouTube, we're all you're all like my brothers. And this is where I feel a little bit of disappointment would be a strong word, but more of it's like, it, I want to grab people by their ears, like, look, listen, chasing this EA and that EA and this strategy and that strategy is not what's going to come to your rescue. It's the skill sets that you need to develop. And that's not going to come from going to the no shenanigan store and downloading stuff. That one. And secondly, I mean, I put on my channel whatever I feel like, okay, well, this might be a good one, a good message to give, a good thing that I want to share. But I also want a little bit of feedback in the sense of, okay, how can we help better? And not help better in the sense of like, okay, can you share your most profitable year? Can you share your €1 to 1 billion euro strategy? But more of it's like, look, and I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to get inspired in a certain way. This might help me. I mean, this community might help us. Having these discussion might help bringing or keeping us like on our toes. So those kind of ideas, like how can we have a more dynamic and a better, which is more value. I can upload 50,000 years and that's not going to happen. You can download, you can backtest, and then spend time between every take and real take and data download from this side and data download from that side. But at the end of the day, it's all about, are we a better person today than yesterday, and do we know more and are we more relevant today than we were yesterday, and how do we continue to improve upon it? Okay, I think Shakes has.
I just have one.
Yeah, okay, but there's one more comment before we go to Shakes.
Yeah, no, the only comment that I just wanted to add to this was this whole idea of
Hello.
don't don't hand over someone the fish. Teach the person how to fish. Like giving someone just an EA, which is helpful. I mean, no doubt about it. EAs are helpful. They are like fish, but that just helps you now in the current world. It doesn't help you 10 years from now. So it's better to learn to fish rather than just have a fish that you can have tonight.
And and guys, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if this is all bullshit and nonsense that I'm speaking, do openly tell me. It's like, look, you've gone mad. I think dementia runs in my family as well, so you can very quickly tell me, it's like, look, you've gone old, you've gone senile. Just release your next year and be done with that. Enough talks. So that's also okay for me. But look, let's have a very honest, open conversation. Hey, checks, you've been waiting for a very long time. Sorry. I don't know how to say your name. It says Shags. Yeah, you would love to participate. Yeah, I mean, we're all, we can't hear you if you're
It's
speaking.
actually Shegs. It's Shegs. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay, so I actually wanted to. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Well, good evening from my own time zone, though. I don't know what your time zone is saying, but I wanted to ask that maybe
Shag,
when you are speaking,
if you can
especially
move a
you,
little
maybe
bit
you share your
closer to the
screen.
microphone, we can barely hear you.
Well, I'm actually with my Microsoft, except maybe I raise my voice. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
It is a little better.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you? I wanted to ask that you share your screen so that we can follow some of these highlights you are mentioning about, especially when you talk about DeepSeek or maybe ChatGPT, and of course how you feed it with some of those prompts so that it can give us kind of either can follow. That's what I wanted to ask. That you share your screen where you are describing especially those parts.
I could not fully follow. Could anybody who could hear maybe repeat it for me?
Okay,
Or just type it in the chat.
I wanted for you to share your screen when you are
You want to
yeah,
share
share
your
your
screen?
screen when you are describing your yes, share your screen, please.
You want me to share my screen? What do you want to see?
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, you were talking about how AI, can be kind of like a soft landing for us. And of course, I wanted to see how work with ChatGPT, for example, to give you some of the EAs. And because for me personally, if I feed my strategies to ChatGPT to give me something, most of the times eventually when I wanted to compile, it give me error. So it don't, maybe it's me, or maybe it's general. So it's not, maybe
Oh,
it's not,
okay.
maybe
Now
I don't know what I'm doing,
yeah,
but
I think I
I would
get
have
the
loved, for
idea.
example, maybe you give us a practical step on how to do that.
Yeah. No, okay. Maybe
Yes.
I think, I mean, right now, if I put my screen up and we start coding something, that probably is going to not be the best use of this discussion. But maybe what I can take away from this is how do I use chat? Not chat. I don't use chat GPT. I mean, way too vogue for me. It manages feelings better than it can manage like really scientific stuff and detailed stuff. I do I had not tried DeepSeek up until maybe 3 4 months ago, and again, all blame on me for not trying it because I wasn't that impressed with ChatGPT. So I thought, well, it's probably like another ChatGPT. Uh, but lately, the last 3 4 months, I have taken some help from DeepSeek on some stuff, and at least I personally I'm amazed by how much it can reduce. One of the things which I think I've said in earlier calls as well is like one of the things that I value the most is if something can save me time, because that time that I can use that time to work on something else or another idea or some concept. If nothing, just I love to sit and stare at the wall sometimes. So maybe what I can do is, and I'll write it down so I don't forget it. I'll probably share how do I use DeepSeek. I don't go and ask DeepSeek, can you code for a profitable moving average strategy? That I don't suppose would work. Where I use it just as a brief one, and then maybe I'll find a way of showing it or demonstrating it, is more like, okay, for example, on this new momentum EA that I'm trying, I wrote the codes, and when I ran the backtest, it looked really, really good. But I have written a lot of other EAs where the backtest looked like, okay, well, I'm going to be the next Bill Gates, I'm going to be the next Elon Musk. And they didn't work in the real world. So, but what I was trying to say was, okay, so I had written those, but then Bajaj has been speaking to me about this Hurst exponent for a very long time. And I went, okay, fine, let's try to figure out a way of, because if my EA is dependent, and this is also true for scalping robot, because I continue to say that it performs well when the markets are trending, but when the markets start to range, that's the killer for that, because once again, if it's a zigzag, it will take the trade and then it will come back and hit the stop loss. So zigzag is bad for scalping. And Bajaj has always been like, okay, can we figure out a way to include some sort of a dynamic in our seek came in very handy because I gave DeepSeek my entire written code and I prompted it to say, look, I'm trying to bring in the Hurst exponent component into my idea. This is these kind of markets I want to avoid, like literally my own idea of what I want to avoid. And then back and forth, we try to, DeepSeek and I, we try to work on it's like, okay, well, what can be the best way to figure out that, or what can give a best approximation of that? And why I'm saying I was impressed is like I felt like I'm talking one to a person. Secondly, I think Bajaj is going to feel very jealous, but it felt to me like I was speaking with Bajaj. So it felt alive, it felt very knowledgeable, it could understand what I was trying. I wasn't asking it to just give me some codes, but it was a back and forth. And especially with that filter on
Reasoning.
the reasoning on. And then I could see it's like, okay, well, here is its reasoning, why it wants to try it this way or that way. And that gave me a few ideas as well of, but what if we try it that way? So it was a very interactive session and I was seriously amazed. So coming back to the point, the way that I would look at today at least at all the AI tools available to us is more of a sparring partner to help. Okay, for example, if you want to write, okay, I want to avoid opening multiple positions at the same time. How can I incorporate that in a code? Deep SQL will help. Where it will not help probably today is if you just go to it and prompt it to say, can you write me an EA? Can you write me a profitable Ichimoku strategy? Maybe it can. I haven't tried. So I'm not in a good position to qualify and judge. But the part which I always used to miss was the sparring part of like, here's my idea, how can we shape it? And that was very, very nice. And then in the end, when we decided together on, okay, well, this might be a good idea to try, it spat out three functions, which I sense checked myself because I also can understand MQL. So I very quickly sense checked it. There were a couple of things where it was using the MQL4 terminology instead of MQL5 terminology. So I corrected it myself, but also prompted it back to DeepSeek as well. It's like, yeah, but this is all MQL4 stuff. So but again, I don't suppose it's going to work the lazy way, which is give me something. But it is an amazing sparring partner. And it's an amazing tool that gives you an edge over everybody else. Like I always say, it's like the same house that you want to have, there are probably another 1,000 people who also want exactly the same house. So why should you get it? Then you have to outbeat everybody else. I mean, we're all fighting for the same resources. I mean, we can fight collectively, but at the end, I mean, it's the trading world is a zero-sum game. And somebody wins, so somebody loses. So to be better than the others, that's the only answer in the world. And not in a wrong, unfair way, but through your own skill, dedication, motivation, hard work, always being ready to open up your mind to new things. And especially in today's world, at least my 2 cents are learning something new every month. You're going to very soon be out there.